Hello and welcome back to part number 3 of the Home to Hero series, where we are getting the chance to interview ROOTVibe. Yes, the first place player of the WCS US event, and of course is heading to represent North America out in Shanghai in mid-November. And I'm gonna do like some time shifting, some time dilation right now, where I want to talk about the lead up to the WCS US finals. You already talked a little bit about how you were taking a break from it, but again, like heading into it, like that month before you took off to play Diablo 3 and just relax, were you just feeling frustrated with your results setup? I mean, what was your mental state going into that, and how were you viewing this tournament, especially with your friends?
I wasn't. I would say that the frustration was a little bit of a part of it. Like, I would say that's more or less like right after I go to an event and I come back from it and I don't achieve what I wanted. I always have like that week after where I'm like, I really wish I did better. I wish I did better. And I just let it beat myself up, and I try to like just think that, oh, practicing more will fix that. And it's like StarCraft is not only a game of like mechanics; it's also your mindset. So what I did with Diablo 3 was I was like, a lot of my friends were already all agreeing that they're all going to play Diablo 3 and they're all making it a big deal. And when your friends play something and they're always talking about it,
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but it makes you kind of want to play too. It makes you want to like be a part of it. So I just told myself I was going to have fun with Diablo 3 and just relax. And what I ended up doing was I actually streamed a lot of my Diablo 3 playthrough, and there was a like I would actually stream that game for like 18 hours a day, like 16 hours a day. I couldn't even sleep. I would just like eat at the computer and play there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was really fun. I'm really glad I did that because it was just a really fun experience, and I ended up just having a lot of fun with my friends. And I actually hadn't really been able to spend a lot of time with some of my friends in a while because I invested so much of my time into only practicing and just playing StarCraft exclusively. So it was definitely a nice, relaxing month for me to get me in like a good mindset of just having fun again.
Yeah,
And
and I remember
I,
you even saying that for that tournament, a lot of your friends came out as well.
yeah, that's another thing too. Is when my friends found out I got invited to play in WCS USA, it's already in California, and three of them living, or actually four of them live in California. And my brother and his girlfriend actually said they were going to fly out with me to the event as well. So there was about like 10 of us all together that grouped up in California, and they all like some of them shared hotel rooms, and it was just like the whole weekend was like I just hung out with my friends, and they got to actually it was pretty cool too because the first event they came to with me, they got to experience me actually winning the event. So it was a all around good event, good experience for everyone.
So I want to begin at the start of the event. You say that you're now in this relaxed mindset. You feel relaxed, like you don't have to win. Again, I'm sure you thought, well, if I wound up winning, that would be great. There's nothing
Yeah.
bad about that. But um, first round, you defeat a Protoss player named Boyo, and then you very quickly go up against State. And State is pretty darn well known for being a good American Protoss player. And that was a really close series. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, against State, I was against pretty much everyone in that tournament. I was feeling pretty confident, except for Idra, because everyone in that tournament, that at least I had in my side of the bracket, I've had either like off and on results with, like I win some, I lose some, or I win a lot. And the only person I really had only had bad results against was Idra. So my series against State, I knew what kind of a player he was. Like I knew he's prone to do timings, and that's exactly what he did against me. And he beat me in the first game with the timing, and I felt like, oh man, I could have played better. He definitely is a good player. I'm not going to doubt that at all. Like he's definitely capable of beating me at any given time. But when he beat me in game one, I felt like I could have just played a little better, maybe defended a little bit better, and won the game. In game two, it was extremely close. Like he was on the, I had three bases, he had two bases. He was doing an immortal all in. He actually killed my third, and he killed my natural. And I managed to kill his army after my natural died. And then I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, I'm about to lose. Like I just lost too much in this. I managed to somehow like equalize the game a little bit, but I think I'm too far behind to come
Yeah.
back. And I somehow managed to like play a miracle game, and I ended up winning that game. And that gave me some more like I was getting kind of discouraged in game two, thinking like, oh, I just lost, so whatever. I'm just gonna have fun with like hanging out with my friends this weekend. But then when I actually managed to come back that game, it gave me like a rejuvenated feeling for the tournament. I guess I was like, well, I actually could still be in this. I could still win game three, and then in game three, I actually managed to pull off another win. So I definitely went through like a mindset of like I can win this right now. Oh wait, no, I just lost the tournament. I'll just have fun this weekend. Oh, I can win again. Let's do it. So I went through like a giving up phase and then a rejuvenated competitor phase throughout that whole series with them. And then in my games against Idra, it was kind of the same thing. And then the same thing with Hawk, except for my series against Hawk and Idra. I actually won the first game in both of those, and then I lost the second game, and then I won the third. So it wasn't as discouraging as losing the first game. But yeah, I would say the main series where I felt like I was kind of beaten was my series against State, because he was about to kill me in game 2 as well, but I somehow managed to come back from that, and it was like a whole new outlook on the tournament. Like, oh, I'm still in the winner bracket. Like, just to do it.
So, I mean, WCS North America or USA. God, I keep saying it the wrong thing, but I will push forward. It was like a weird tournament, I think, for everyone, because there was all those names like the Illusion and Idra. I almost said Huck, but he's not from the USA, contrary to popular belief. Sheth. I mean, there were a ton of names out there. Actually, I guess he's half American. Is that right? Look, this is not about Huck right now, but there were a ton of big names in the U.S. finals that everyone was really looking at, talking about, and as the tournament sort of went on, most of those players started to get knocked out, and by the time that you defeated Hawk, you're up against like Ranged in one of the final matches, and then ended up playing up against Inser in the finals. I mean, was there a moment where you were like, "Oh my god, I totally won"?
I definitely felt like I was kind of surprised that a lot of the high-profile people were kind of knocked out, and I felt like the tournament. I don't know, like. I'm not going to discredit anyone's skill at all. I definitely think people like Ranged, Inser, and Daisuke, I think they're all really good players. But just the way that the names were kind of unfolding throughout the tournament, I actually felt like I was kind of going backwards in like the way the names were kind of appearing. I felt like it was like the high-profile names were early on in the tournament, and then like the up-and-comers or like the less profile people were appearing as the tournament went on. So it was definitely a weird tournament experience. But I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to discredit anyone's skill. Everyone definitely deserved the wins that they got. Like, there's obviously a reason why that they're in the semifinals or whatever. Like, they're beating people that, like, they're there because they beat the people you're supposed to see, like the Sheth or the Illusion or whatever. So, but it was definitely kind of weird. Like, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to play like someone like Sheth or Illusion after beating someone like Idra. So it was definitely a weird experience.
So then the moment comes where you play up on the main stage and you win. Tell me about that final game and that moment right after the win.
Well, I definitely had like a pumped up feeling before playing my matches, because not only against, like, I played against Inser on Friday, and I was all, like, both my games against Inser and Daisuke were both on main stage. But both on Friday and Sunday, when I played both the matches, I was hanging out with my friends the whole time, and they're like, you're going to kick his ass, man. You're going to win. they're like pumping me up, you know? And I definitely felt like this, like, and they were all like, on Saturday night, there wasn't, my match against Inser was really late, so a lot of the venue had kind of been cleared out. So, like, when I looked outside the booth and I saw the viewer area, like the spectator area, I saw like a few rows that were full, and then I saw like the group of like 8 of my friends, like all sitting there, that for my friends that were still at the event at that time. They're all just sitting there, and like every time I do something, I can see like out of the corner of my eye, because it's like there's nothing else there, and it's just like them. They just like flail their arms around, and I'm like, it's just like, I don't know, it gave me like cool feelings. Like after I maybe like hit a good banding or something, they're just like going crazy, and it's just a cool feeling. Like as I'm playing, it's just like a pumped up feeling.
And then go on.
And then on Sunday, they were actually like the venue was totally full because there was the championship day for MLG. And I was like, I played at like 5 p.m. or something. It was like right in the middle. And they were like kind of in the middle of everybody. So I couldn't really like single them out anymore. But I was sitting with them throughout the whole morning of MLG basically, because I didn't really have anything to do. Like my match was like 4 hours after the event started. So I was sitting with them watching all the Koreans play. And the Koreans themselves, they're inspiring when you watch them play, because they're so good. And they're just like, my friends are like pumping me up too, like, man, you're gonna win all that money, blah blah blah. You're gonna win. You're gonna get all the fame for winning this event. And then I was just like, I was telling myself like, I'm not gonna let that really psych me out. I'm just gonna go have fun with it. And then when I started playing and I actually won the first game against Daisuke in the grand finals, I was really nervous. I'll say I was extremely nervous, but I was like, I was like, I felt like I was high. I don't know how to explain it, man. I was just like, this is awesome. I'm gonna win.
And then when you
I
finally
don't,
won, did you get to see your friends out in the audience?
yeah, like as soon as I won it, doing the interview, I wanted to have fun with it, and I ended up like bringing up Diablo 3 in the interview, and I got the crowd to laugh, and that was awesome feeling. Like I didn't want to be a boring interview, so getting the crowd to laugh was definitely cool. Because like when you're up there on the main stage, the crowd's responses definitely plays a big impact on how you are. And when the crowd's like cheering, and when the crowd laughs when you say something funny, it's definitely like motivating to like I don't know, it's just cool. It's awesome feeling. And when I got good feedback from the crowd, and after I just won, it was a really good feeling. And then when I got back and I kind of regrouped with my friends after I got off the main stage, all they wanted me to do was get drunk. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, whatever. I just won a tournament, man. I don't care. Let's go have fun. So it was a really cool feeling.
So suddenly you're the U.S. champion, and now you're going to the NA finals that were going to be at MLG Raleigh. And you talked a little bit about how in 2011 there were people who were like, why is he in an ASL? His top three shouldn't be here and all that crap.
Yeah.
But it was weird to me after you won the U.S. There were still people going, no, it's total fluke. There was a weird tournament. There was like a time warp that happened there. Those weren't the players who were supposed to win. So were you feeling any pressure to have a repeat good performance going into the North American regional finals?
I feel like all the competitors that play in these tournaments, I feel like everyone, even this is how I viewed myself back then, but I feel like everyone kind of saw me as a player who has like two sides to him. Like I have a side where I can come out and I can be a really strong player, and then I have a side where I can come out and I can just be a completely weak player and people can just walk all over me because I was really inconsistent because I had these stress and like nerve issues, and a lot of times I would underperform. So I felt like people could see me as like, oh, I'm probably going to win, but you never know. You could have that good game and you might beat me. But then the community as itself, though, I never really had that top three finish or anything like that. So I wasn't like a Huck or like an Idra.
Yeah.
So people look at me and they're like, why isn't Idra there? Why isn't someone else there that's already had that success? So I didn't like, that's how I viewed the community, is how they viewed me or how they viewed me. And I didn't really let that like impact anything on how I viewed myself or how I thought that people I knew in the competitive side of it viewed me as either.
I mean, did you plan to play Diablo 3 for another month leading up to NA, or did you start a different training regimen?
If Diablo 3 was able to capture my attention as much as it did when it first came out, then maybe. Not so much, man. After the WCS USA, I burnt myself out on Diablo 3 a little bit, and I kind of just went back to exclusively playing StarCraft. But I felt like Diablo 3 in itself, it gave me that break, and even though I wasn't playing it nearly as much as I was before, that break of like I broke that like barrier in my mind where it was like, as long as I don't put so much stress on myself, I'm capable of like winning an event not winning an event always. That's pretty hard, but I'm capable of well an event and performing really well. So that was like that mental breakthrough was really big for me, and just it changed my whole outlook on how I view tournaments from this point on.
And I mean, with the NA regionals, I mean, you came right out the gate again and had to go up against Gosu User, who's just another strong American player. And that was one of the closest rounds you had in the entire tournament.
Yeah, like that round, I felt like, I don't know, I feel like if I don't warm up a lot like right before I play a match, I can kind of play kind of weak. And when I played against Gosu User, I felt like again, I'm not discrediting anything from him. He's a good player. But like when I lost I think I lost the first game to him. I was like, well, I might lose right now in the first round because I really haven't had much of a warm-up. I played like 2 games or 1 game before. I'm not the kind of player who can just randomly go to a different setup, like out of nowhere, like a MLG setup as compared to like my home setup and just play it flawlessly. I'm not Stefano. But I like have to get kind of adjusted to what I'm playing at. And when I lost that first game, I felt like I definitely wasn't playing as well as I could have been. And then I was trying not to let it get me down. Like I was thinking to myself, I was like, normally how I used to be was I was like, I would let this bother me and be like, well, I'm probably going to lose now. I'm already down. I'm at a disadvantage. This kind of sucks. I have to win or I'm out. But then the way I was looking at my series with Ghost User, after my different mindset after WCS USA, it was more or less like, if I lose, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. I'm still in the tournament. But if I win, I'm still in the winner bracket, which is obviously what everyone wants. But I'll just try to play my next game, not even think about the first game. Just go into game two and just play. Like, just try to play my best. And I actually ended up winning the next two games against Ghost User to solidify my round two in the winner bracket. So the mindset definitely is a big thing for me. And like I said, this year I feel like I've kind of conquered.
Yeah. And you had to go up against Ranged, and then Doro, and then finally State up in that upper bracket. And like two of those were repeats from the previous tournament. But I mean, you seemed to cruise right through it. Was it just like after you had that flip in round one, it was all smooth sailing? Were the games close, even though the results weren't?
Yeah, like I feel like that as the day went on, it was like the matches were one after another, after another, after another. So I felt like I was definitely really warmed up, and I felt good. I felt confident that I was going to play really well. And then my series versus Ranged, I would say it's a little unfortunate for him just because I've kind of figured out, like back then, I don't know if he's still playing that way right now, but back then I kind of figured out his style. He's just a really passive, greedy Protoss, and I was just playing to my advantage, abusing that. And I would either play extremely greedy myself, or I would punish his greed early on. And I just felt like me and him, our styles didn't really match up that well for him back then. So I just kind of, I took that advantage and I beat him with that. And then my series against Doro, I had a lot of confidence going into that right before I played him because he's like, dude, I haven't even been playing StarCraft. I've played a lot of Dota 2 lately, and that's all I've been doing. And I'm like, oh, that sucks, dude. Fuck, man, I don't know. I don't know what to say because I'm friends with Doro, and I'm like, I wish him well in every tournament he does in. But when he told me that he hasn't even been playing, I was like, all right, I can probably expect some early games. Like, I don't think he's probably going to want to draw out late games if he hasn't even been playing the game. And that's exactly what he did. He did like a couple of all-ins, and I ended up holding him, and I ended up winning. And then after that, I can't remember who I played after. It was State? Yeah, State. I felt kind of bad for State because I also like the guy. He's a really good guy. But online, I think he's definitely a way stronger player than he is when he's really... If he gets really nervous in LAN events, he's definitely a much weaker player. And right before our match on main stage, he was just telling me how nervous he was because I actually went and got like lunch with him right before we played. Like, it was me, him, and Astoji that all went and got lunch together. And he was just telling me how nervous he was going to be. Like, he's like, oh, I don't play main stage. This is like my first main stage match, and I'm like mainstream match. And I'm not really ready for it. I'm really nervous. And then he told me like right before the event, right before the match, like as we were setting up our stuff, he was feeling sick. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
dude.
God.
I was like, I know how that is. That sucks, dude. And that's really all I can say. I'll go easy. Like, I'm not going to say that because everybody wants to win.
Yeah.
But like I knew he wasn't going to be playing at his best because he was feeling really nervous and sick. So I felt bad for him, and I felt like that really showed in our games. Like he definitely didn't play like the State that he normally plays like. So that was unfortunate for him. And then my series against Idra, I felt like I had a breakthrough with Idra with my last tournament at USA when I actually beat him, and that was the first time I've ever beaten Idra, by the way. And then like every other tournament I played him in before that, I've always lost. Like I've beaten him in ladder a few times, but every tournament I played him in before WCS USA, I've always lost. So being able to realize like, oh, I can beat him in a tournament in WCS USA, that was definitely a confidence booster. And I feel like that specific tournament, like result against him, definitely was a confidence boost going in versus him in the WCS NA finals, whatever, semifinals. So that definitely played a big part on that match. And then, yeah, against Scarlet, Scarlet's amazing, man.
It's kind of funny with as few games of Scarlet as are out there. It's still always like, ugh, oh god, she just destroys everyone, and it's never close ever.
She has mechanics that are like on par with like in Code A, Code S players. It's ridiculous. Like I feel like if you make any mistakes at all against Scarlet, you just die. Like you have to get an advantage to beat her, or not lose an advantage that you have, and it's so hard to not lose an advantage against her. So playing against her is pretty stressful because if you mess up at all, you lose. I was like, maybe I'll win, but yeah, at least I made finals.
So I mean, at that point, you'd kind of established yourself as one of the best players in NA, just straight up. And now, in a couple of weeks, you're going to be heading out to China. Hopefully all your visa issues are sorted out and that sort of thing, that you get your ticket. But, I mean, are you How do you feel heading into the finals? Are you trying to keep this same mental state of like, okay, don't stress yourself out too much? Are you changing your practice scheduling? Like, what's your prep for it?
I'd say the biggest change in my practice lately is like, I would say this mainly kicked in after I kind of stopped playing Diablo 3 so much. But I'm not gonna lie, I started playing again this last patch, just a little bit, not a lot, but a little. They like did like a monster power patch change or whatever. I wanted to check it out, and I just try to like my mindset now. What I try to do is I try to have StarCraft 2 as my main game I play, but I always like to have one game on the side that I can kind of like, oh, I'll play StarCraft 2, I'll practice, but then I'll go play something else and I'll relax and not just grind, 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 grind. Because if you grind only and you're not actually winning everything, you start beating yourself up like, why am I losing? This sucks. Like, I should be winning every game I'm playing because I play enough, I practice enough. But StarCraft definitely has that. StarCraft is a game where like the better player usually wins, but it definitely also has that random feature to it where you can always lose something. Like, you're not always gonna win. So when you like beat yourself up mentally, being like, I always have to win, and you're not winning, definitely plays a big part on damaging your mindset. So the game, I always like that. Like I said, I always like to have a game I play that's just on the side.
Yeah.
Right now, that's probably going to become Diablo 3 a little bit again. But my mindset going into WCS, the World Finals, is like, I think I'll do well because I play against a lot of high-level people on Korea all the time. I play against high-level people that are in tournaments all the time. Like, I just played against a few Europeans and a couple Koreans in NASL recently. I didn't play MC for anyone who's watching that. I'm not going to claim I beat MC. I know it was... but I beat a few of the Europeans. Like, I beat people like Thorzane. I beat people like Bishu, Targa. Like, I've beaten some high-profile people recently, and then not even, like, when I'm not streaming, I play against some high-profile people. Like, I played against OGS Top recently in on Korea, just ladder, and I won. So, I mean, like, I know I'm capable of competing with really high-level people. It's just, I feel like if I get a good bracket that suits my playstyle well, like, if I get a bunch of all-in players that are, like, they do things that are weak against what I'm, like, I don't like, that's actually a bad way to say it. I feel like if I get people in the tournament, in the World Finals, that are like, their playstyles kind of play well against mine, then I might not do as well as I want. But if it's the other way around and I get a bracket that I'm comfortable with, I could do well. Like, you can't beat everyone in a tournament all the time. So there's definitely people I'll be looking out for that I don't want to play. But I think I can do pretty well in that tournament. I think I'm definitely capable right now of my mindset and my skill level.
Yeah. And of course, since we're finally approaching the end of this interview, I want to know who you'd like to thank or credit or give shout-outs to, because you've had like a really interesting career. Just, it seems like totally slow and steady on the rise up. If there's practice partners or people you'd like to thank, now's the time, Sir Dan.
All right. Well, I'll just start off by thanking the usual friends, family, fans, like everyone who supports esports and myself, particularly in general. That's the main reason why I continue playing, and it's just support always makes the biggest difference, because if you weren't being supported, what would be the point in playing? It's you play for the community, you play just because you're part of something. And then more specifically, I guess I could thank my team. I really have been enjoying my new team, Root Gaming. Like, ever since I joined Root Gaming, it's the most fun environment I've been in. Like, I've had a lot of fun on my previous teams, but Root Gaming I think is unique because it's just like, it's always like, we always have a Skype chat always going, and it's just like always fun. And like the players on Root Gaming are also really talented, so it's just, you always can have practice partners whenever you need them for matches and stuff. So it's always just really nice to relax and have fun with people, but yet practice with really talented players and just improve with people and just have fun, I guess. And if you guys want to check out Root Gaming, you can look at our site. It's root-gaming.com. Our sponsors right now, big shout out to them as well. It's Rush Order Tees and Twitch.tv. Without them, Root Gaming wouldn't be as far as it is right now, so thanks to that. And then I'll give a shout out to all my friends too.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends that have been sticking with me throughout all these years, like 10 years now. We've all been playing games together. They even came out and supported me at WCS USA in California. It's really awesome. Without them, I wouldn't even be playing games as much as I am, because they're probably the main reason why I play so much. Because it's just like, I'm playing with friends is always more fun than playing by yourself, and always having people to talk to is always really fun. So big shout out to them as well. I know some of them are watching this right now, so what's up, dudes? And big shout out to you too, Sean and Blizzard, for doing the interview. I really appreciate all the promotional stuff you guys are doing. It's really awesome. Really like the WCS events, and I hope they stick around.
Yeah, and thanks for chatting with me too. It's really fun for me to get the chance to just like chat with you. I mean, I always feel like it's kind of weird cheat that I have to do to like hang out with a friend. You know, like I remember with like JP. It's like, hey JP, do you want to do a streamathon event for 12 hours? And that's how I hang out with JP. It's like the chance to get to know you. Cool.
Yeah.
Do an interview, and this has been a treat. And I wish you the best of luck. I've loved watching and casting your games, and kick ass in Shanghai. Yeah. And definitely go check out Vibe. His Twitter is twitter.com/RootVibe. And your Twitch TV, I believe, is twitch.tv/VibeLOL.
Yep. I forgot to do self plugs. Thanks.
No, don't worry about it. I'll handle that. See how balanced and fair it looks?
Thanks.
Well, I wanted to thank all of you for tuning in today. Tomorrow we're going to be resuming the normal daily streaming. We'll be talking a little bit about TLO's kick-assedness at the Asus ROG tournament. And go play some StarCraft. Big thanks to Blizzard for helping to set this up. I really appreciate it. And until that time, go play some games. See ya!